The agency that's supposed to make government more efficient is burning taxpayers for millions.
We've got Pensacola as a problem. I got it from Pensacola to Miami. In the private sector, you'd be out the door in a nanosecond.
We'll also investigate federal workers charging us for their personal gas and trips to strip clubs.
Just pure, simple greed. I did it because I could.
Plus, our government is spending a fortune on self-promotion.
It's taxpayer dollars spent to convince taxpayers to spend more taxpayer dollars.
We'll also show you how Hurricane Matthew affects the presidential race, and we'll roll out our gaffe of the week. This is Money, Power, and Politics. Well, partisan politics rightly takes a backseat to matters of life and death. And so, 1 month before the election, Hurricane Matthew just froze the race. That's our first big point. The campaigns had to stop what they were doing in much of Florida and Georgia, North Carolina. Those are 3 key battleground states. And at the same time, coverage across the nation shifted away from the race as it should. And people who may have watched Trump and Clinton's Sunday night rematch may not, because they may be in transit, may not be around a TV, or may not have power. So we'll continue to focus on the storm. But we also have some troubling developments in Washington. And that brings us to our second big point. Federal inspectors are still finding excessive wait times for VA health care. Remember, the VA scandal started with a discovery of falsified wait times at the hospital in Phoenix. Well, the Inspector General found that veterans in that same facility are still dealing with excessive wait times.
It's that mid-level management that knows they will outlast any president, any secretary, and certainly any House chairman, and they'll keep trying to do things the way they've always done it.
A confidential source told the IG that 4,800 patients had to wait longer than 30 days. 10,000 more who sought help at a nearby care center also had to wait longer than 30 days. In fact, one patient with vascular problems had to wait more than 300 days.
In other words, the bureaucracy is so entrenched that unless there's a top-to-bottom change in the VA, in particular in Phoenix, but I think the VA generally, that you're not going to solve this problem.
The IG report notes that hundreds of veterans died before their scheduled appointments. And the problem with wait times goes far beyond Phoenix. The numbers through the last month show more than 500,000 veterans had to wait longer than 30 days or their preferred date to see a doctor. And we investigated the wait times across Tampa Bay as well. In fact, a former VA scheduler in Tampa sat down with us and explained what he saw and did and broke down in tears over it. Please check out our in-depth look at the VA in Florida on YouTube. Search for Craig Patrick's Money, Power, and Politics. Click subscribe at the top of the page, then watch our full series of investigations. You'll also find other investigations focused on questionable spending and government waste, which brings us to our third big point: more waste and abuse. A former senior military aide to the U.S. Secretary of Defense blew our money, in fact, in strip clubs. The Pentagon's Inspector General says Army Major General Ronald Lewis used his federal credit card at strip clubs and repeatedly engaged in unbecoming conduct and excessive drinking and improper interactions with females. He ran up more than $1,000 at a club called the Candy Bar in Seoul, South Korea. Of course, that's just a drop in the bucket of questionable spending at the Pentagon. About 4 years ago, the Pentagon studied its spending, then ordered a study of its study, which Congress then studied and wound up ordering a GAO study, which determined that studies of studies wasted our money, while the Pentagon in recent years has admitted to losing track of trillions of dollars.
It's almost embarrassing. Well, it is embarrassing that the Pentagon cannot even conduct an audit. They don't know where the money is.
We've also shown you how the military diverted money for weapons programs to meat-flavored roll-ups and cut up more than $7 billion of usable equipment and vehicles overseas instead of shipping them home. Bought $16 billion in ammunition it did not need, then spent another $1 billion blowing that ammunition up. And of course, the waste goes far beyond the Pentagon. Remember how the GSA got hammered for its wasteful spending in Las Vegas a couple of years back? Well, we dug into the records again this year and found the GSA is still blowing our money.
Bring me my margarita.
Remember how Congress scolded the bureaucrats for spending too much money on hotel rooms and breakfast?
GSA has to send 15 to Las Vegas to check out a hotel.
I'm a big man. I can't spend $44 for breakfast.
This is the kind of stuff that makes people furious.
What eats at me is
the why.
The General Services Administration will never live down the travel scandal of 2012.
I traveled the world to London, Peru. Ain't no place better than GSA.
After all, the agency responsible for improving government efficiency blew more than $800,000 at a conference in Vegas and hired clowns to teach government workers how to not act like clowns.
Well, I walk around and make sure everybody else is working so I don't have to do anything.
You know, whatever it takes, Dan.
But long after the GSA promised to stop flying around the world, we found much more waste and inefficiency still flying below the radar.
To start, log into Aloha.
Like the GSA's flawed time card system that cannot effectively track overtime and time off. As of last March, it had more than 51,000 discrepancies affecting 6,800 employees.
Okay, things need to change. Would you agree?
Yes.
And the GSA's mismanagement of child care subsidies that wasted more than $4 million and withheld payments to nearly 10,000 military families.
This is an absolute boondoggle.
And the GSA's surplus firearm program that federal inspectors ripped for poor record keeping, leaving government weapons susceptible to theft.
There's no penalty for failure.
The GSA also has trouble keeping track of its gas cards. We exposed thieves filling up jugs of fuel on GSA cards last May. Federal gas card abuse is costing us millions, and audits show we're still getting burned.
Just pure, simple greed. I did it because I could.
And the Inspector General says the GSA continues to mismanage public property. For example, records show it relocated staff and cleared out a building in Pensacola due to widespread mold. But federal inspectors said there was no widespread mold. That move cost us more than $6 million.
We've got Pensacola as a problem. I got it from Pensacola to Miami. Everything that GSA's involved in, unfortunately, we have problems.
Keep in mind, the Vegas travel scandal of 2012 cost us around $800,000. The IG's most recent report to Congress revealed questionable expenses topping $1.3 billion.
The IG report is pretty damning, and it's something that Congress needs to attend to.
Congressman David Jolly says we need more oversight.
There are such loose controls that in the private sector, they would be out of business.
And Congressman John Mica, who's trying to reform the GSA, says heads should roll.
In the private sector, you'd be out the door in a nanosecond, and it's time we did the same thing in some of the poor performers or just horrible performers in the federal government.
The GSA is the largest acquisitions arm of the federal government. Again, and it was created in 1949 to streamline the system. Coming up, see how government pays interns $88 an hour and other expenses you may not believe. And it's your turn to weigh in. After last week's debate with himself, Charlie Belcher may have some more surprises from the Money, Power, and Politics mailroom. Well, Money, Power, and Politics airs Monday through Friday nights at 11:30 as well as the weekends. And every weekend, Charlie Belcher brings our viewers into the show. Once again, from his own special mailroom, Charlie, take it away.
Hello there, Money, Power, Politics audience. Charlie Belcher here in the Money, Power, Politics mailroom, doing what I do best, reading what other people give me to read. Shall we go through your emails for the week? Yes, we shall. First one is from Lee Jenkin out of Dunedin. Lee says, Dear Craig, the baseball satire, episode 82, was awesome, especially with the roasting of Governor Rick Scott. If you do a football satire, be sure to include Mark Sanchez's butt fumble with Trump as Sanchez, trying to find his way around Washington with so many politicians blocking his path to success. You could even use the real Redskins as the immovable object defense, with many others trying to get around the usual political roadblocks. Ah, Lee, thanks for the idea. I love it anytime we bring a little sports into the Money, Power, Politics world. But I'm thinking the way you liked Governor Scott being roasted and that you want to see Trump as Mark Sanchez, I think I can tell where you're leaning there. Thanks for the idea. All right. Oh, you know what? Everybody's still talking about that great debate.
This election's really up to you.
I want to make America great again.
No, not that debate. the more recent debate.
Let me talk about this
Senator,
issue
I think
of the
I'm
state of the
still on
world.
my time.
Well, I think, isn't this a discussion?
No. The debate that I did with myself, remember? I thought they were fine questions and everybody wanted to know the answers. Wrong. You're wrong. Yeah, that debate. People are emailing about it. Chuck says, just finished watching Charlie's debate with himself. It's a wonderful day in the mailroom, Mr. Rogers. Great segment. Keep it up. Thank you, Chuck. We will try to do just that. Jerry Tracy Vet says, keep it up. To agree or disagree is our right because we are Americans. Really enjoy your perception on things. Thank you very much. I'm often debating things in my own head, and I'm sure that great debate will continue in there. Next email comes from Brendan McDowell. First time watching Fox 13's Money, Power, Politics. Craig Patrick, Charlie Belcher, and Russell Rhodes were hilarious. Brendan McDowell, thank you and welcome. And remember, you can go to YouTube and see all of our past episodes and past shenanigans and enjoy. Hope you keep watching. Diane Joyce is back with another email. She says, another one you hit out of the park, Craig and Charlie. Thank you, Diane, for your constant support. Angela Hamrick says, love your show! Exclamation point. Thank you very much, Angela. We appreciate your kind words. And finally tonight, Maria is taking us back to English class. She has written a haiku on the vice presidential debate. Do you remember what a haiku is? It's a traditional Japanese poem, 17 syllables, usually 3 lines, 5 syllables, 7 syllables, 5 syllables. All right, here's Maria's haiku. Mop the floor, Mike Pence. Tim Kaine is your Swiffer mop. You are calm and cool. Well done, Maria. Yeah, send me your limericks, send me your haikus, send me your poems. It might just inspire me. I've written a haiku myself to close things out. Here we go. MPP needs mail. Write them, send them to me, please. Job security. Huh? All right. Keep them coming, Money, Power, Politics audience. Send anything you want to send. Pictures of your kids, haiku, you want to debate with us, you have an opinion on things, your football picks, we don't care. Send them to us. mppmailbag@yahoo.com. That is mppmailbag@yahoo.com. You send them, somebody upstairs prints them out, they get down here to my mailroom, and I share them with you. Thank you very much. And back to you, Craig.
Thank you, Charlie. Now, coming up, we'll pick up our investigation of government spending with a look at what we pay to sway taxpayers to spend even more.
It's just mind-boggling. I never knew the extent because it's not publicized.
Oftentimes, the PR expenditure is just a cover to promote the government's interest and not the public interest.
When government spends money promoting itself, watchdogs say it can pose a conflict of interest and drive up our debt even more. So we took a closer look at the records to see what we pay and what we get.
See that steak burrito? Well, the Green Ninja will switch it to chicken faster than you can blink because he says it's better for our environment.
And it's time for the world to feast.
As NASA's scrub manned spaceflight, it spent nearly $400,000 on the Green Ninja PR campaign.
Green Ninja, teaching kids to keep it clean. Green Ninja.
And when you add in the other billions our government spends on public relations, while it's $19 trillion in debt,
Never gonna stop until we do this thing.
government watchdogs say we're getting burned.
Oftentimes, the PR expenditure is just a cover to promote the government's interest and not the public interest.
Adam Andrzejewski and his group opened the books, crunched the numbers from 2007 to 2014, and they found more than $4.3 billion in federal PR spending. That includes more than $600,000 for the State Department to buy likes on Facebook and a social media blitz at the Environmental Protection Agency to drum up support for new regulations.
It's taxpayer dollars spent to convince taxpayers to spend more taxpayer dollars on a larger size and scope of government.
Federal contracts with outside PR firms show the feds also pay interns up to $88 an hour, and an executive manager can make up to $525 an hour.
There's just no ifs, ands, or buts. That's over the top.
Travis Horn is a PR executive in Tampa who sees the need for government PR to keep us informed. But he says the rates and bills appear to be out of whack.
Again, I get it. We are in the business of outreach and speaking to the public and communicating when there's a natural disaster or when there's a health crisis with human services or what have you. But some of those figures, are just beyond the pale.
And when you show those figures to small business owners like John Zeckley, they can't believe it.
It's just mind-boggling. I never knew the extent because it's not publicized.
Zeckley runs a printing and engraving company in Tampa that caters to the military and is now reeling from cuts to national defense.
Probably about 60-70% from what I was.
And as the Fed slashed national defense and investments in education and research, they ramped up PR spending.
They're sitting in their own little world, and they don't know what's going on out here. Spending your money is not a problem.
And while federal lawmakers railed on deficit spending, we paid nearly $50 million in public relations from the Bureau of Public Debt.
And so the Bureau of Public Debt spent nearly $50 million to convince taxpayers to buy more public debt so politicians could spend more to create more debt.
This is all based on available federal records, but Senate Budget Chairman Mike Enzi says the true and full cost of federal PR spending is largely unknown. So he sent this letter to federal inspectors this year to start an official investigation.
Well, we asked the 10 agencies that spent the most on PR for on-camera interviews, and their public affairs offices declined. But they sent us statements defending their PR work on grounds that it educates the public and keeps us informed.
Coming up, we'll reveal the gaffes of the week.
Well, time now for our Weekend Extra. This is a look back at moments from some of my favorite segments of the week. That's our Password Challenge with Charlie and Russell this week, and, of course, Call It with Scott Smith.
Now is the time to heed the timeless advice from Teddy Roosevelt.
The timeless advice from Teddy Roosevelt. What is that timeless advice? Is it speak softly and carry a big stick?
Yeah.
Is it credit belongs to the man whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood? That was a good one, by the way.
Yeah, that's a great one.
Is it I'm going to trust bust you up? Or is it friends don't let friends vote for con artists?
Okay.
I
want to say A.
He could have said any of these.
I want to say A, but now I'm leaning towards C. Yep. I'm going to go C. I'm going to trust bust you up.
Going to trust bust you up. It's a Biden-ish thing to say, right? Uncle Joe, take a look.
Mean?
Now is the time to heed the timeless advice from Teddy Roosevelt. Speak softly and carry a big stick. End of quote.
Oh, no! It was the obvious one, and I gave you all the fake ones thinking
You've done a good job of conning me today.
I did. I conned you on that. But see, he didn't end the quote there. He said something else. He said more.
I'm going to trust bust you up.
He said end of quote. There might be trust bust you up. That's not one of the choices, actually. And he follows it up by saying, and I swear sometimes you have to beat people over the head with that stick. Nobody laughs. Crickets just chirp.
Yeah.
Or B, instead of softly, I've been known to speak awfully.
That would be a moment of candor, maybe.
C, he asks a paralyzed man to stand. Or D says, and I promise you, the president has a big stick.
Yeah. Let's go D.
D? Does he do that?
I have a feeling.
Let's take a look.
Speak softly and carry a big stick. End of quote. I promise you, the president has a big stick.
There you go. You got it. You got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we probably.
here we sit and we're playing
Zippity doo dah, zippity doo dah.
And then I'm the Charles Nelson Riley of this show.
I said to all of them, I haven't tried that before.
And let's just hope they handle it with the grace of John Boehner when he stepped out and when he quit. Remember, he was singing zippity doo dah, zippity a, and he took it in stride. And that's what we hope somebody will do on November 9th.
Well, I think a lot of people are zippity doo dah through all these commercials and through all this talk and through all this banter, and I mean, it's almost a mantra, zippity doo dah, because you're just inundated with this stuff. And I think there's a large amount of people who just want this to be over.
I agree with you.
And it will be soon.
And I might be one of them.
Like Russell feels about this segment. They just want it to be done.
But let me just say one thing before we go. And I guess we're going. That was the best use so far. Zippity Doo Dah and John Boehner was the best use.
I'll take the point on that. That's right.
You won that one.
Now time for Gaffes of the Week. Okay, our first gaffe of the week goes to the Hillary Clinton campaign for buying up ad time on the Weather Channel as Hurricane Matthew swept in to promote her campaign or tear down Donald Trump. She got called out for trying to capitalize on a looming disaster by Republicans, and then the campaign asked the Weather Channel to delay the ads until after the storm passed. Our second gaffe of the week goes to Senator Marco Rubio for the same sort of thing. In his case, he sent out a fundraising email as the storm took aim on Florida, urging people that it's critical to stop what they're doing and listen to his pitch for money for his political campaign. He says this is truly a hands-on deck situation. Well, the Rubio campaign said that was a 9-day-old message the vendor resent and not to people in the path of the storm, but it was bad optics nonetheless. All right, that's our show. Good night, everybody. We'll see you again tomorrow night.